Tim Blair, and Stepmate Studios, Mark Nicholson. Thanks, guys, both for joining us. Mark, I know you live there in the heart of trendy inner city Melbourne, supposedly the capital of the cafe culture, but they're going to start delivering the cappuccinos and lattes around there by drone soon. It's going to put the cafes out of business.
Yeah, last week the City of Yarra were talking about decolonising the whole city, and look at us now. We've turned it around. We're going high tech this week here in the City of Melbourne.
Unbelievable. Let me just show a clip that shows to us what's going to happen in the streets of Melbourne, in the airspace of Melbourne, starting now.
We have 18 aircraft there. They fly at about 70 metres when they're cruising on their way to a customer's home. They're very fast, so they fly at over 100 kilometres an hour, which means once we have the package, the customer will have their order within minutes. The drones can deliver packages to most single dwelling properties within our delivery area, so anywhere within that 6 kilometre radius. As long as you've got about 4 metre radius clear in your backyard, then our drones should be able to perform a delivery for you.
Oh, Mark, this is going to be so good. You have to ring the neighbour and say, sorry, mate, my chicken Luxor got dropped on your Tesla.
Yeah, and travelling at 100 kilometres an hour, 70 metres in the air. It's going to be frozen food by the time it comes to you. It's going to be an iced latte dropping on your doorstep. I tell you what, I try and be progressive, mate. I try and enjoy, and accept these technological advancements. And this is very Jetsons to me, and I'm trying to accept it. But I do think this is going to be a very interesting space to watch, just food literally dropping from the sky, I reckon.
Tim, this is going to be a nightmare in footy season when someone's going for the match-winning goal and gets stopped by someone's Big Mac flying to Fitzroy.
Yeah, there might be a few issues. I mean, seriously though, first they take our guns away, and now this. Come on. Can you imagine being a kid with your air rifle back in the day when we were allowed to have them? Man, those things would present a challenge. 100 k's from the sky, trying to take out your neighbour's half a dozen
with your BB gun. Don't give them any ideas. Look, I'm all for takeaway food and fast delivery, but I reckon there's going to be trouble here. There's going to be trouble here.
Oh, you bet.
Now let's go to something more serious, but probably a lot more troubling, and that is the future of the greatest democracy on the planet, the Great Republic. Let's have a listen to Joe Biden. He tells us that if he gets the tap from the doctor, he might stand aside.
If there had some medical condition that emerged, if the doctors came to me and said, you got this problem, that problem.
Tim, he says, if some medical condition emerged, he's already forgotten how crook he is.
If a doctor explains to him how bad he is, how will he understand it? There's a lot of challenges in this sort of thing. Also, in the general theme of things, don't you go to the doctor?
Yes.
Is that how medicine works these days? You just sit there and wait, and then eventually someone shows up and says, you're a bit crook, mate. Try these tablets.
Well, maybe
Joe's case, resign. Go away.
Maybe he's smarter than we think he is, because he knows if he goes to the doctor, he's done. It's terrible to watch, isn't it, Mark?
It's honestly, mate, like I said, I think I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I ebb and flow between thinking this is very funny to this is genuinely terrifying. And this one, seeing him getting COVID today, that's the big news today, that he's got COVID. And there's part of me that's like, geez, that's scary, because he's right there. He's had a bazillion boosters, so he might survive this. But and there's also part of me now that's realising that maybe this is just like the Trump assassination. It's a attempt. It's a DNC, inside job, and he's going to emerge in a couple of weeks, pumping the fist, saying fight, fight, fight. I beat COVID, and get a similar boost in the polls. It's whoever's writing this season of the US politics. They're absolutely nailing it. It's so entertaining.
Well, let's go to another.
Also frightening that it's reality.
There's another great instalment of it, and it's from the Vice President Kamala Harris calling for unity. Have a look at this.
There must be unity around the idea that while our nation's history has been scarred by political violence, violence is never acceptable. There can be no equivocation about that.
Yeah, and she says they need to be unified and nicer to each other, Tim. But at the same time, she says the other guy is evil personified, and it'll be the end of democracy if he wins, and that there'll be bloody riots if he loses.
Yeah, didn't the peace and love phase of the Biden campaign last a long, long time? I think maybe 12 hours. Let's all unify, and then it was back to Hitler. And now, just on a side note, it's clear that any Xanax shortage in Washington is way overrated. They've got plenty of that stuff going around, judging by Kamala's speech patterns and general patterns of thought. Yes.
Yeah, it's always good to listen to Kamala, though, isn't it?
No.
No. Now, what I like about Kamala, Mark, is that she says something that's really pointless, and then she says something that's really pointless again, just to emphasise how pointless it is.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, it's funny how you can't really understand her most of the time, but when she's calling, her political opponents Hitler or dehumanising them, it's crystal clear. I'd love to take her word for it. Like, I don't know about you, bloke. I'm sure you blokes have copped it as well. I've had DMs calling me Hitler, telling me to go kill myself and all those sort of things. Like, I've copped it, and I'm nowhere near to the level that they get in America.
To Sky News.
I'd love to draw a line in the sand. Yeah, I know. And I'd love to draw a line in the sand,
Absolutely. I'm sorry for sending all those messages, mate, and I hope you can put it behind
Yeah.
Now,
guys,
Tim,
I'd love to take Kamala Harris's words for it, guys. What can be unburdened by what has been, or whatever it is. Let's be unified. That'd be lovely. But I don't believe them.
Let us be what we can be, unburdened by what we have been and are being into the future. Tim, I didn't notice it at first, but if you could turn a little bit to your left, we can see that you're sporting that ear bandage that has become so popular in the US. This is hilarious. Have a look at this from the convention, where all respectable Republicans are actually doffing the bandages in solidarity with Donald Trump. Fantastic stuff, Tim. How is your ear?
Well, for once I'm vaguely in fashion. It doesn't happen very often, but I blame myself. I was out there walking near a building with a slight slope on it. Didn't observe usual safety precautions and copped a shot to the ear. But it's a charming fashion. I hope it goes away quickly. But at least I'm not stupid enough to be wearing a mask. That would really be making me look foolish.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, I can see both your ears, Mark. So you're obviously a shocking lefty. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us both here. Have a good weekend.